The Sigma male doesn't dominate by force. He wins by understanding. His power isn't loud, it's psychological. While others compete for attention or hierarchy, he studies patterns, energy, and motive. He doesn't chase validation because he knows where control truly begins, in the mind. Every room he walks into, he's already analyzing it. The emotions, the tone, the dynamics, not to manipulate, but to navigate. That's the Sigma advantage. Awareness so sharp it feels like intuition. Composure so deep it disarms chaos. He doesn't fight for status, he dismantles it. He doesn't seek dominance, he renders it irrelevant. People underestimate him because he's quiet, detached, even mysterious, but that's by design. The Sigma male understands the psychology of power better than anyone else. The less predictable he is, the more control he has. The less reactive he becomes, the more influence he gains. This isn't about being above others. It's about mastering the one battlefield most never conquer, the mind. His emotional distance isn't coldness, it's clarity. His independence isn't rebellion, it's control. The Sigma male plays life like a strategist, not a participant. If you've ever felt like you see through people, like you notice what others miss, or like you'd rather lead silently than follow loudly, this video is for you. Subscribe to UltraWise for more insights into Sigma mindset, quiet power, and psychological mastery. And tell me in the comments, do you think awareness is the most underrated form of strength in today's world? The Art of Emotional Detachment. For the Sigma male, emotional detachment isn't a lack of feeling, it's emotional strategy. He's not cold, he's calculated. In a world where everyone reacts too fast and feels too loud, he chooses stillness over noise. He's learned, often through pain, that emotional control is power, not over others, but over himself. There was a time when he cared too much, tried too hard, and let his emotions become his weakness. But the moment he realized how others could use his empathy as leverage, something inside him shifted. He stopped giving people access to his peace so easily. When chaos erupts, the Sigma doesn't flinch. While others explode in anger or collapse in confusion, he becomes quiet, studying every move, every word, every silence. That's his advantage. His calm unsettles those who expect emotional chaos. His lack of reaction forces manipulators to lose control. Because when someone can't provoke you, they can't control you. He's mastered the pause, the space between stimulus and response, and inside that silence lies his power. This emotional detachment doesn't mean he doesn't care. It means he chooses where to invest his emotions, and more importantly, where not to. He knows that emotional overexposure leads to burnout, while detachment fuels focus. By stepping back, he sees patterns others miss. He recognizes fake apologies, hidden agendas, and shallow flattery long before they reveal themselves. His distance becomes clarity, his silence becomes dominance. And yet, under that calm exterior lies deep emotion, but it's private, sacred, and rarely shared. He saves his vulnerability for people who've earned it, not demanded it. That's why the Sigma's detachment is so misunderstood. It's not a wall, it's a filter, a psychological barrier that protects his energy from those who drain rather than empower. This is the art of emotional detachment, the rare ability to stay rooted in yourself when the world pulls at every direction. It's not about being numb, it's about being free. And that freedom, that calm control, is what separates the Sigma from the rest. A man who feels deeply, but chooses wisely. Pattern recognition in human behavior. The Sigma male's greatest strength lies in his ability to see what others overlook. The patterns beneath behavior, the rhythm behind words, the hidden repetition in human nature. He doesn't just listen to what people say, he studies how they say it. Every tone, every pause, every shift in eye contact tells a story. While most people take things at face value, the Sigma watches for consistency. He's the observer in the room, silent, composed, but mentally mapping every action, every motive, every subtle cue. This ability wasn't learned from books. It was forged through experience. The Sigma has lived through betrayal, manipulation, and emotional games. Enough times to spot the blueprint. When someone lies, he doesn't need proof. He feels the micro-DNA in their response. When someone flatters, he senses the imbalance in energy. He's not paranoid, he's perceptive. People often mistake his quietness for disinterest, but in reality, he's processing data, connecting emotional dots others don't even notice exist. He's seen the same story play out too many times. People wear masks, speak in contradictions, and act out of insecurity. But instead of judging, he analyzes. He studies people like living puzzles, not to manipulate them, but to protect himself and understand the deeper mechanics of connection. Over time, he develops a sixth sense, a pattern recognition radar that warns him long before things go wrong. It's why he doesn't fall for fake sincerity or dramatic displays of emotion. He's already decoded the algorithm. This ability gives him a psychological advantage that feels almost supernatural. He can predict outcomes before others realize a game is even being played. He doesn't need confrontation. He simply adjusts his presence, redirects his energy, and lets time expose truth. His awareness becomes his armor, his foresight, his weapon. And the best part, he rarely reveals how much he knows. Because the Sigma understands something simple yet powerful. Once you see the pattern, you no longer need to fight it. You simply step aside and let it repeat itself without you in it. That's the quiet genius of the Sigma mind. Clarity through observation, control through awareness. Through the power of non-reactivity. For the Sigma male, silence isn't weakness, it's precision. In a world addicted to instant reactions, he wields non-reactivity like a weapon. When others rush to defend, argue, or prove themselves, he pauses. That pause unnerves people. It exposes their own lack of control. The Sigma knows that the first one to lose their composure loses the advantage. So, he stays centered, emotionally still, psychologically untouchable. His calm isn't forced, it's practiced through years of understanding that emotional impulse is the enemy of power. He's seen it all before. People provoke to test boundaries, manipulate to feel superior, argue to distract from truth. But he refuses to feed that chaos. Instead, he studies it. He observes how emotion drives behavior, how anger blinds, how ego speaks louder than reason. He watches people burn themselves out trying to get a rise out of him, and while they flail in emotional turbulence, he remains still, letting their own reactions expose who they really are. His stillness becomes their mirror, reflecting their insecurities back at them. This kind of composure doesn't come naturally, it's earned through pain. The Sigma has been misunderstood, provoked, even betrayed, but instead of reacting, he learned. Every time someone tried to control his emotions, he realized the true source of power wasn't dominance or revenge, it was restraint. Because the man who can't be provoked can't be controlled. Non-reactivity isn't passive, it's the highest form of discipline. It's how he decides which battles are worth fighting and which are best left in silence. People mistake his lack of reaction for apathy, but it's deeper than that. The Sigma feels everything. He just doesn't let emotion dictate his next move. He knows that reacting gives energy to the wrong things, and energy is the most valuable currency in the world. By withholding reaction, he keeps his power, his peace, and his purpose intact. The result is a quiet authority that few can understand and even fewer can challenge. While the world screams for attention, the Sigma wins by saying nothing. Because in the end, the loudest voice in the room isn't always the one in control. It's the one that can stay silent and still command respect. Social mapping without attachment. The Sigma male moves through social environments like a strategist in unfamiliar terrain, observant, composed, and detached. He doesn't enter a room to belong, he enters to understand. Every interaction, every dynamic, every hidden hierarchy, he maps it quietly in his mind. He reads the tension between people, the alliances disguised as friendships, and the insecurities masked as confidence. He doesn't judge, he studies, because for him, human connection is less about emotion and more about data, the psychology of energy exchange. He learned early that attachment clouds judgment. When you want to belong, you stop seeing things clearly. You start ignoring red flags, tolerating disrespect, and confusing comfort with connection. The Sigma refuses to play that game. He keeps his emotions anchored within. Observing others from a quiet distance, he can enjoy conversation, even connection, but he never lets it define him. His strength lies in this ability to interact deeply without becoming dependent. It's not arrogance, it's survival. Social mapping to the Sigma is an art. He identifies genuine souls by their consistency, manipulative ones by their patterns, and lost ones by their contradictions. He notices who talks the most but listens the least, who flatters when eyes are watching, who shifts tone depending on status. He collects these details like puzzle pieces, and without effort sees the entire social structure unfold before him. While others chase acceptance, he's already deciphered the power dynamics at play. This detachment doesn't mean isolation, it's selective engagement. The Sigma knows that every connection comes with an energy cost, so he chooses wisely, investing only in those who bring peace, authenticity, and growth. And when the environment turns toxic, he disappears without warning, leaving no emotional trail behind. He doesn't burn bridges, he simply walks away quietly, knowing distance speaks louder than confrontation. What makes his approach so powerful is that people never know how much he truly understands. He smiles just enough, speaks only when necessary, and leaves before the mask slips. His presence feels calm but unpredictable, because no one can manipulate a man who's emotionally self-contained. In a world desperate for validation, the Sigma's detachment is his freedom. He's connected to everyone, but owned by no one. That's the psychology of a man who maps the world, yet walks through it untouched. Self-awareness as a weapon. For the Sigma male, self-awareness isn't a soft skill, it's a tactical edge. While most people are driven by impulse and ego, the Sigma studies his own mind with surgical precision. He dissects his emotions, tracks his triggers, and rewrites his behavioral patterns until he becomes impossible to manipulate. He doesn't just know who he is, he knows how he works. Every insecurity, every fear, every strength is mapped like a blueprint for control, because in a world full of reactionary minds, the one who understands himself always wins. This kind of awareness wasn't born out of peace. It was forged in chaos. The Sigma didn't wake up calm. He became calm by walking through emotional fire and refusing to come out blind. Every betrayal taught him how to recognize projection. Every rejection taught him where his worth doesn't come from. Every failure stripped away illusion. Over time, he realized that mastery over others is meaningless if you haven't mastered your own psychology first. When people attack, he doesn't react. He analyzes. He asks, why did that trigger me? What fear is this testing? Instead of spiraling, he recalibrates. This self-awareness gives him a level of control that most can't comprehend. It's what allows him to stay silent when insulted, patient when provoked, and detached when others panic. He understands that emotional awareness is emotional armor. Once you understand the mechanism of your pain, no one can weaponize it against you again. But what makes his self-awareness truly powerful is how he uses it, not for arrogance, but alignment. He knows his purpose, his limits, his values, and his energy thresholds. He doesn't chase external validation because he already has internal direction. He's not swayed by trends, manipulation, or pressure because his compass is internal, not collective. And that unnerves people. You can't control someone who knows exactly why they do what they do. So when chaos hits, the Sigma male doesn't crumble, he adjusts. While others react blindly, he adapts consciously. And that's why he always ends up one move ahead. Not because he's smarter, but because he's self-aware. The man who knows himself can never be outplayed, because he's already studied every version of who he could become. The advantage of minimal ego. For the Sigma male, ego isn't a weapon, it's a weakness. He's seen how it blinds people, how it makes them defensive, reactive, and obsessed with appearances. So he dismantled his own. Piece by piece, he stripped away the layers of identity built on approval, comparison, and pride, until what remained was something raw, self-acknowledged without self-importance. This is where his true power begins, because when you remove ego, you remove the need to prove. And when you no longer need to prove, you become unpredictable, unshakable, and free. The Sigma male doesn't chase status symbols, titles, or applause. He knows that validation is the leash most people wear willingly. They crave recognition so badly they forget who they are without it. But he operates differently. His focus isn't on being seen, it's on seeing clearly. Without ego clouding his judgment, he reads situations for what they are, not what his pride wants them to be. That's what gives him the advantage in every psychological battlefield. Clarity. When someone tries to insult him, he doesn't bite the bait. When others flex power, he observes the insecurity behind it. While the crowd fights for dominance, he studies the dynamics. Patient, quiet, and 2 steps ahead, his lack of ego becomes his invisibility cloak. No one can anticipate a man who has nothing to prove and nothing to lose. That's why he wins without even appearing to play. Minimal ego doesn't mean he's meek or detached from ambition. It means his ambition is internal, directed toward mastery, not attention. He measures success in silence, how calm he stays under pressure, how well he adapts, how little external chaos disturbs his peace. That's the Sigma paradox. He achieves more precisely because he doesn't chase it in the way others do. His energy isn't wasted on showing off. It's focused on evolving. The world doesn't know what to do with a man like that. They mistake his calm for disinterest, his detachment for arrogance. But the truth is, he's simply untethered from the illusion that ego equals strength. He knows real strength is quiet. It doesn't need validation, applause, or witnesses. And that's the Sigma advantage. While others build empires to feel powerful, he becomes the man no one can control. Strategic vulnerability. To the Sigma male, vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strategy. While most people hide their emotions out of fear or overshare them for validation, the Sigma uses vulnerability with precision. He knows when to reveal, when to withhold, and when to let the truth speak louder than defense. This balance makes him unpredictable. He's not afraid of being seen, he's afraid of being misunderstood. So when he opens up, it's intentional, deliberate, and always rooted in control, not desperation. He understands that vulnerability, when used wisely, disarms people. It lowers defenses, diffuses manipulation, and creates an illusion of openness while maintaining full awareness of the room. When others expect pride, he shows honesty. When they expect attachment, he surprises them with empathy. But underneath that calm honesty lies calculation. Not deceit, but discernment. The Sigma reveals only what strengthens the connection or the lesson, never what could be weaponized against him. His control over vulnerability didn't come naturally. It was learned through betrayal. There was a time when his openness was pure, when he shared without filters and believed everyone deserved the truth of his heart. But experience taught him that not everyone can handle authenticity. Some will admire it, but others will exploit it. So now, his vulnerability is selective, a door that only opens when he feels genuine resonance, not just curiosity. When he does let someone in, though, it's unforgettable. His honesty carries depth that most people never experience. It's why people remember his words long after he's gone, because they weren't crafted to impress, but to connect. His presence in those moments feels rare, magnetic, and grounding. He doesn't expose himself to the world, only to those who have earned the right to witness what lies beneath his calm surface. And that's his power. He turns what others see as fragility into control. He knows that authenticity is one of the hardest weapons to counter because it cuts through pretense. Strategic vulnerability lets him build trust faster, lead deeper, and communicate without manipulation. It's emotional aikido, redirecting energy with precision, never force. The Sigma doesn't fear showing emotion. He fears showing it to the wrong audience, and once he learns that balance, his transparency becomes a tool, not a trap. It's the calm authority effect. The Sigma male doesn't raise his voice, he raises the room's awareness. His authority doesn't come from dominance, threats, or theatrics. It comes from the quiet steadiness that unsettles louder men. When he walks into a space, people feel it. Not because he demands attention, but because he doesn't need it. His calm is the kind that commands. It's the kind that says, I don't have to prove anything because I already know who I am. That energy alone shifts dynamics, often without a single word. This calm wasn't inherited, it was earned. Through conflict, betrayal, and self-confrontation, the Sigma male learned that true power isn't in control of others, but control of self. He's seen how chaos feeds on reaction, and how the loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. So he stopped competing for noise and started mastering silence. When others panic, he pauses. When they argue, he observes. His restraint becomes magnetic. People subconsciously lean in to hear what he's not saying. The calm authority effect works because it's rare. In a world addicted to overexposure and ego, serenity feels like mystery. People are drawn to it because it feels like safety, but also danger. They can't tell if he's detached or simply above the noise, and that ambiguity gives him leverage. His silence invites curiosity, and his composure projects dominance. This is emotional gravity. The less he exerts force, the more everything revolves around him. What makes this even more powerful is his unspoken integrity. His calm isn't performance, it's principle. He doesn't use silence to manipulate, he uses it to stay aligned. It's the same energy that makes people pause before lying to him, hesitate before disrespecting him, and remember his words long after he's left. He doesn't react impulsively because he's already thought 10 moves ahead. That's why his calm isn't passive, it's strategic stillness. And when he finally does speak, the room listens. His words cut through noise because they come from clarity, not emotion. The Sigma male doesn't need to dominate to lead. His self-possession does that for him. In a storm of ego and chaos, his calm becomes authority, the kind that can't be bought, faked, or challenged. It's the final level of power, silent confidence that bends the world toward its center. At the end of the day, the Sigma male's power isn't in how loud he speaks or how hard he pushes, it's in how deeply he understands himself. His calm, his detachment, his silence. None of it is weakness. It's precision. Every move, every pause, every withdrawal is rooted in awareness. And that awareness turns him into something rare. A man who doesn't need control to be in control. If you've ever felt misunderstood for your stillness or judged for your quiet strength, understand this. Your calm is your authority. You don't have to shout to be powerful. The energy you hold in silence can command more respect than words ever could. Keep sharpening that discipline. Keep leading without noise. The world may never understand how you move, but it will always feel it. If this message resonates with you, it's because you think differently, you move differently, you're part of a small group that refuses to follow the crowd. So stay sharp, stay independent, and never apologize for your peace. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to UltraWise, turn on all notifications, and drop a comment below. Real power doesn't need to speak, it's felt.